The battlefield. Chaos. Screams tearing the air. Steel carving through flesh. The gladius strikes, and rivers of blood pour out into the dirt. Rome called it glory. But to the man lying in the mud, shaking, clutching the wound that will not close, it feels more like hell than honor. History remembers Rome's victories, the arches, the parades, the chants of Io triumphe as laurel crowns were laid on the brows of generals. Statues of marble captured their faces forever. But the legionary, the man who stood in the shield wall, shoulder to shoulder with his brothers, who bled so that an emperor could be cheered, his fate was different. Forgotten. What happened to him when the dust settled, when the battle was won, when his blood was spilled but his life remained? The Romans were practical. They built aqueducts, roads, law, empire itself, and they built a system for their wounded. Primitive, but ahead of its time. The medics, battlefield doctors, marched with the legions, carrying scalpels, bone saws, hooks, cauterizing irons. They were trained in Greek medicine, Galen's theories of humors, Hippocratic practice. But knowledge in Rome was as brutal as it was brilliant. To save a life, they would cut without hesitation. To close a wound, they would burn. Picture it. You fall. A blade cuts deep into your thigh. Your shield slips from your hand. The enemy presses on, but comrades drag you back, your sandals scraping against blood-soaked earth. You are hauled into a canvas tent reeking of sweat and lamp oil. Inside, a medicus works quickly. No time for comfort, no anesthesia. He grips your leg. An assistant holds you down. A hot iron is pressed into the wound. The hiss is deafening. Your skin burns. The stench of your own flesh fills your nostrils. You bite down on leather until your gums bleed. The pain is a storm. Some men faint. Others pray. You survive. But survival is not victory. If you heal, you return. Stitches tugging against the weight of your armor, splints hidden beneath your greaves. You stand again in the line. The legion does not rest. Campaigns continue. Wounds barely closed are reopened. And yet, many do not return. Some wounds fester. Infection creeps in like an unseen enemy. Fever burns hotter than any iron. The medics fight it with wine, with honey, with vinegar. But often, the soldier's last breath is taken, not in battle, but in the silence of the tent. And what of those who live, but live broken? A soldier who cannot march is of little use to the legions. He may be discharged, sent back to Rome or some frontier village, promised a pension, promised land, promises that often vanish in the shifting winds of politics. He returns scarred, some with missing limbs, others blinded, disfigured, limping through streets that once cheered for conquest. The Senate celebrates the triumph of the general. The soldier, crippled, haunted, fades into shadow. His scars are not only of flesh. Nightmares stalk him. The clash of iron echoes in his dreams. The screams of dying comrades haunt the silence of the tavern. He drinks. He withdraws. He becomes a stranger in his own city. Rome gave him everything to fight for, but little when the fighting was done. Yes, there were veterans' colonies. Some soldiers did receive land. But what of the thousands who slipped through the cracks? For them, there was no glory, only survival. The statues in Rome are of gods and emperors, not of the man with the limp, not of the soldier who walked with a cane, his face half gone from a barbarian's axe. History prefers perfection. The broken were hidden away. Their silence was Rome's silence. And yet Rome endured because of them. Every road, every aqueduct, every conquered land was paved with their sacrifice. Their suffering was the mortar of empire. Today, we see echoes of them in our own time. Veterans returning from war bearing wounds visible and invisible. Scarred bodies, scarred minds, still asking the same question their Roman ancestors once asked. Was it worth it? Who remembers the wounded when only the victors are celebrated? Rome called it glory, but for the soldier, glory was pain. Glory was scars. Glory was survival in a world that forgot him. And so, I ask you, when we remember Rome, do we remember its marble or its men?